Welcome to the Spirit of Doom.
Welcome, dear listeners, and gratitude for tuning into another edition of The Spirit of Do, a bi weekly show exclusive to Radio East River, airing Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. South African Standard Time, with me, David John Wayne Bailey, your host and guide, as we embark upon a journey to bridge the gap between thought and action. So, Donovan had a bit of a troubled childhood. He lost his father at a very early age. It was just him and his mother for a while. And then his mother remarried. I don't know if it's just the stereotype perpetuated by the movies we watch, but the stepfather was not the friendliest guy. Not towards his mother, and certainly not towards him. And every chance he got, he would beat Donovan. It was either he would lay into the mother or it was Donovan. So Donovan would take the brunt of the punishment because he considered himself the man in the house, protector of his mother. He barely knew his father, and he decided to take it upon himself to protect his mother with the small body he had and with the childlike mentality of a boy wanting to protect the woman who brought him into the world. So this abuse would continue into his teenage days, and he lived in Devon Park, which was quite close to the church located there, just in one of the side streets. And it was on one of these fateful corners that he would see a drug deal happen. And being an impressionable child, to him it looked like a way out. It looked like freedom. And you watch these guys for a few weeks until he finally built up the courage to approach them. And he offered, one could say, tips and tricks on how they could deal better. He made the boy that was dealing on that particular corner so much money that it actually garnered the attention of one of the bosses of that specific area. They took him to meet the boss, and the boss gave him an opportunity, or gave him a choice to just help out or to become a dealer himself. So obviously, dealer is what Donovan was aiming for from the get-go, because at the moment, I mean, the situation was he's living with a man who's constantly beating him and his mother. This man is bringing in the money. The mother's just a housewife. And as long as this man was the head of the household controlling the finances, there was no way that they could escape. So Donovan's instinct was make money. I can buy a better life for my mother and myself. So that went on. He started dealing. He became a big man. He got to the point where he actually made friends with such hardened criminals and gangsters in the area that he used these guys to strong arm his stepfather into not beating his mother anymore, to such a point that the man got so scared that he just left one day and he never came back. So it was just Donovan and the mother in the house, and the house was finished paid at least. Um, his father left substantial insurance that actually covered that. So the stepfather was just living in a house that was already paid for. Anyway, so Donovan kept on dealing. His mother was such a broken creature by then already that she didn't bother asking where the money came from and asking Donovan about where he was at all hours of the day, because he had dropped out of school by then already. He started going into this full time. And it was one fateful night while he was with two, three of his friends, a group of his friends. A new drug had hit the market. They were busy testing it. And one of his friends got a bad batch and overdosed right before their very eyes, before they even had a chance to call the ambulance, before the ambulance could arrive to administer support. His friend died. And this struck him quite hard. And it was from that night onwards that Donovan would decide to not deal drugs anymore because he started to see the other side of it. On the one side, he was making money to save his mother, but at the same time, while saving his mother and himself, others were meant to suffer, and someone quite close to him died. He could not reconcile the 2 points and decided to drop it. Not an easy choice to make, and also since he was making the boss so much money, but he was able to extricate himself from the situation because turns out even though he didn't have a lot of academic studies and that he dropped out of school, he was quite smart and he was intelligent enough to find a suitable solution that would make the boss happy as well, to let one of his top earners go. Donovan would eventually become a student counselor, counseling kids on the dangers of drugs and bad life choices because his life was a great example of that. Also the fact that they could turn it around. And then lies the lesson. So Donovan chose compassion for his fellows. Donovan made a conscious choice. He could have ignored the death of his friend. He could have done that. And he could have just kept on dealing and eventually would probably become an underboss. And eventually he could have taken the position of the boss or run his own operation. Made and make a lot of money, right? But he chose to go the other route. He chose to add value to his community. He chose to add value to who he was surrounded with. He chose to add value to his mother's life. He chose to add value to his own life. He listened to his conscience and he made an active choice to do something that would help instead of harm. Quote of the day: what you do matters more than what you don't do. But once in a blue moon, what you don't do matters much more than what you do. Attributed to Amit Kalantri. Gratitude for tuning into this week's edition of The Spirit of Do. With me, your host and guide, David John Wayne Bailey on Radio East River. I look forward to spending some quality time with you again this coming Monday at 10 a.m. South African Standard Time. Oh, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show, so feel free to reach out to me via email, david@davidjohnwaynebailey.com, or Twitter and Instagram at davbay83. Till then, keep doing what you're passionate about. Love and inner peace.